to Rick's Scale Model Fix and another brand new kit release. This time we're going to be taking a look at ICM's Bristol Beaufort Mk.1 in 1/48 scale. So without further ado, let's conduct the box top tour, and we've got some digitally rendered or computer rendered artwork of a Beaufort on a torpedo run, dropping a torpedo there. On the box sides we've got the marking options included in the kit. On the end of the box we also have the repetition of the box artwork and your kit number for this one, which is 48310. And on the remainder of the box side we have a brief history of the type and ICM's contact details. So let's take a look in the box. So lifting the lid reveals that it is just a cover slip. As with most of the ICM boxings, the contents are contained within a white box underneath. Opening that reveals the plastic. It's all in a single bag, which is not necessarily a good idea. We've got the decals and the instruction booklet. The instructions are printed on A4 document, booklet type, quite heavy paper, quite well produced. Opening the cover we have parts map on both pages, with construction starting on page 5. As expected, the construction begins with the interior, and again it's centred around a single centre section with the bulkheads etc. being attached in order. It does look to be relatively basic in there. How much of it you're going to see on a completed model we'll have to see. Details starting to creep in. We've got some radio gear being added to the wing spar, which is then inserted through the fuselage. Work then progresses on to building up the cockpit and the front pilot office. Seats, bulkheads, all coming together, even the toilets included. Rear wheel bulkhead and the tail wheel being added. Some holes to open up, and this is a nice touch, as where the limitations of the moulding has been in the wing root. We've got an insert which completes the formers and everything there, so the detail is continuous. Page 8 sees the fuselage halves coming together, and it's going to be interesting as always with this type of medium bomber, with the glazing and seeing how the cockpit fits the fuselage. We've got some windows and a machine gun, and again left and right front glazing coming together with the nose. It's going to be a challenge for the modeller to see how that all fits together, hopefully perfectly. Stage 29 on page 9, and we see the wings coming together. It's got separate control columns and different options for the landing flaps there are included. So it seems very reminiscent of the Airfix 72nd scale kit. Turning the page sees a repetition of those wings being completed, along with the elevators, rudder, and the start of the bomb bay construction and flaps etc. Engine nacelles come together and added to the underneath of the wings there, along with the undercarriage parts. So it does seem quite well detailed in these areas, but the build is coming together very, very quickly. Attention then turns on stage 53 to completion of the engines, and they do look well detailed. These are added to the front of the cowlings and then entombed within two halves, separate cowls coming together. So it wouldn't be on the realms of possibility to actually leave those open and actually see the hard work and the detail in the engine there. Step 64 on page 14, and we see construction of the turret. That then being added to the model, and again it's going to be interesting to see how this all fits. Stage 71 is asking you the options of various parts there, so for the torpedo or bomb bay. Bombay doors are open or closed depending on your weapons fit and how you want to display your model. And then moving on to the different variants and the different fitting. So we've got the under chin weaponry, some pitot tubes and other aerials there, and then it's on to the torpedo, which is a kit in itself, and it carries a little trolley as well. So even if you didn't want the torpedo on your model, you've got the ways of just displaying it next to it, which I think is quite nice. Nice touch with ICM is a canopy mask, a template. So like I said before, anything with this amount of glazing is going to be a little bit tedious to get through with masking and fitting. So this will help. So you can just lay your masking tape over, draw around it and cut it out. Or you could go down the route of paying a few more pounds and having the Edward etch set, masking set. On to the options. Not a lot of information in regards to what the aircraft is. It just literally says Bristol Beaufort Mk.1 L4449, presumably Mate 39. We've got another Beaufort Mk.1 22 Squadron, Lincoln, summer 1940. And this is probably going to be my preferred option. Another one, again, Northcotes, Lincoln 1940. Another Beaufort from 22 Squadron, St Everil, April 41. All in the different schemes there, so that's sky, dark green, dark earth over black. And last but not least, that's in Coastal Command colours. Might be not really sure from there, but it could be slate grey and dark green, or slate grey and dark grey. And that's 217 Squadron, RAF St Everil, autumn 41. So that looks quite interesting. It's very, very rapid build looking at it. Whether that's going to reflect in the amount of detail that's contained in the kit will remain to be seen. The decal sheet looks to be well printed, and I believe could possibly be by TechMod, in which case aftermarket quality is assured. I've used ICM decals in the past and they've responded well to the usual setting solutions and not really had any issues with their application. Turning our attention to the plastic, and the parts are all contained in one bag, so we're going to have to be careful that we've not got any loose parts here. Thankfully those clear parts are contained in their own bag. We'll just quickly remove these, and we haven't got any errant parts trying to escape there. So as the parts are all loose in no particular order, we'll just take the sprues as they come. So this is being identified as B1, and it's the wing section. And the first thing that's really noticeable is the quality of the tooling. The plastic is quite soft and flexible, but the detail it contains is quite nice. There are no rivets, but there's some nice raised work there around the access panels for the wings. I don't know if the camera will pick those up, and what is there is really quite nice. Some internal structure there for the inside of the wings and the flaps. Location points for those spars that will go through the fuselage, and what ejector pins are present are quite restrained and faint and shouldn't need more than a quick swipe with a sanding stick just to make sure they don't impede your build. Next sprue off the pile is identified as sprue C, and we've got the rudder and elevators there, nacelles, these inserts for the inside of the fuselage, Bombay, instrument panel there, radio faces, whatever. Again, quite nicely moulded, no flash, not really massive amount of ejector pin marks in that very familiar ICM mid-grey matte finish plastic. So this is runner D, and again some more internal items on here, cowlings, elevators, and again the tooling is really really nice, like we said, in that flat mid-grey matte plastic. Detail does look to be quite limited, so it's going to be a rather quick build than a detailed build. The other parts, the seat looks a little bit chunky there as well, but nonetheless it's a Beaufort in 1/48 scale. So there's two sprue E's, obviously port and starboard. Main wheel detail is quite nice. It's got a tread pattern there, prop blades, engines, some of the smaller details, machine guns and undercarriage legs, all nicely portrayed in plastic there. Fuselage is identified on runner A, and again it's following the rest of the plastic. It's quite soft, matte, mid-grey, nice engraved panel detail. I don't know if the camera will pick that up. Nothing spectacular, but nothing disappointing either. And it's nice touch with ICM, like we were saying about those inserts for this area, so you get the continuing detail found on the inside of the fuselage. Torpedo is included on a separate sprue, and I think ICM actually market this as a standalone item as well. It does include its own trolley, and we do have an escaped part there, so just be careful when you're unpacking your kit. Runner F1 includes parts for that turret, which sits in the dorsal area. And last but not least, we have the clear parts, which I'm not going to take out the bag. They do look quite nice, perfectly moulded. It should be interesting to see how the fit of those to the plastic and the surrounding fuselage takes place as the build progresses. So whilst we're having a look at the Beaufort, it might be a good opportunity to just take a look at extra decal sheet 48219 that's available for the type, because I'm sure, like me, many of you, if you've bought the kit, would consider alternative marking options. Be a wise choice with the extra decal sheet, as it does supplement the kit details quite nicely with some quite attractive camouflage schemes not included in the kit, particularly this blue version, which is simply listed of an unknown squadron Royal Air Force based in the Mediterranean. It does replicate some of the kit marking options, which is only to be expected, but nonetheless, for the money, does offer the modeller some alternative, more personalised marking choices. So there we have ICM's brand new Bristol Beaufort Mk.1 in 48 scale. Interesting release from the Ukrainian company. Certainly topical. Seems to be a proliferation of twin-engined RAF World War II types at the moment, with the release shortly after this of Airfix's very own Avro Anson. It'll be interesting to get this one on the bench. One that I certainly can't wait to start, and could well be the next multi-part video build. So it comes highly recommended from me, despite it looking as though it could be simplified and lacking details in some areas. That won't stop you ending up with a very attractive, unusual type of aircraft in your collection. So that's it from me. So until next time, please take care, stay well and look after yourself.